So, hi everyone. Today we are talking to Lara Langner, a multidisciplinary designer based in Vienna, Austria. Before we dive into the episode, for people who don't know you, could you introduce yourself and what you do?
Oh, I love that question because it's always in my head with what will I start? Because I'm doing a few things in my life, and depending on the person that's in front of me, I would say I'm a goldsmith, or I'm a design strategist, or I'm a designer, or I'm an artist. So I think I'm a lot of things, and depending who will ask me, I would answer in that way. But for you guys, I would say I'm a design strategist that loves to dive in different disciplines, and I want to understand everything. That's kind of the goal in my life. I want to know everything. It is from every material, how to drive a truck, how to, I don't know, dive deep, how to, yeah, very, very curious about the world.
I love the attitude. I love the
Yeah,
goal of wanting to know everything. That's definitely the first time I hear that. Like, want to genuinely know everything. That's
yeah.
cool, though.
I think that's the first time the multidisciplinary made sense to me. I feel like a lot of people say they're multidisciplinary, and I never know what that means. But you saying, like, describing it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's just go back to the start a little bit. How Wait, well, how did you get started? I want to know a little bit more about, let's say, how did you get started with design? Did you learn it? Are you self-taught? And how did you get into freelancing? Could you guys just like tell us a little bit about your process?
I think I would start. My mom's an artist. So I grew up painting my whole life and drawing. And for her, it was quite, she knew I will go into the graphic design world. I think when I was probably 5 or 6 years old, she was like, "Yeah, I think you will do that." And I was like, "Nah." But then it just, I don't know, I kind of liked it. And I went into the Grafische. It's like a secondary school with a focus on graphic design. You can also do photography and printing and multimedia, but I did graphic design. So I think with 15, 14, 15, I started in the graphic design world, and I changed schools quite a few times. And I was in the countryside, then in Vienna, then countryside again Vienna. So I know a lot of people because of it. And it kind of started with random people from the countryside being like, "Hey, do you know how to do it to a GIF?" I don't know if it's GIF or DIF, I think DIF. And I was like, "I don't know, let's try." And I kind of started like that. And then I did some vineyards, some etiquettes, or some friends were like, "Hey, can you do me a flyer?" So I think it started gradually very young. And then I got my first clients with like 16, 17.
Hmm.
And also, I have to say, the Grafische, the school, it's like a pool of so many people that are so talented. So I still know so many people from the school. And when I do a project now, so for example, I'm doing an image video right now for a flute builder. And I know someone from school that's a videographer. I know someone who does music. So I think it just kind of built up on this school. Yeah.
And that's how you kind of slid into freelancing. So it was more like unintentional, or was it somewhat intentional?
Intentional, because I was working for the internships. I did like 3, and then I worked for 2 companies, just like for 3 full months. They needed me for a project, and I stayed a bit longer because I enjoyed it there. They enjoyed it with me. It was a nice work, but I always felt like that I put in more that I will not get from a company. So if I'm freelance, I would just get more for what I'm doing. And I love to decide when I will do what. That's also why I can do so many things, because I can say, well, now it's Tuesday and I just want to be in the atelier and paint the whole day. But now it's Sunday and I want to work on my laptop the whole day. It's my decision. And that's what I really love about freelancing.
Is that what you say gives you the most value out of freelancing? Having to like being able to create your own schedules, your own work-life balance, basically.
Time, yes.
Yeah, that's such
Deciding
a
what I want to do and when I want to do it.
yeah, I feel like that's a very big point for us as well.
Yeah, for example, like I sleep really long and I take sometimes I don't sleep so long, but I take so long in the mornings to like get out of the house and like get like I'm where I'm ready to actually do something. I could never do that at a 9 to 5 because I can't come in at 11 every day at a 9 to 5. But that's just how I am. So it's definitely a big reason why I like every time I feel like, oh, like it would be kind of nice to be employed because you just have to think less about things. And sometimes that's also nice. But then I'm like, but I could never do it just because of the schedule.
That's the only thing freelancing
Yeah,
is.
it's really like one of the main reasons. I love the freedom of it. And also getting it's because sometimes you do feel like super motivated in the evening or on the weekend. And if you're employed somewhere, that's not when you would be doing your work.
Yeah,
I totally get that.
yeah, totally
Absolutely. And
agree.
also, I sometimes like to work like 4 hours really focused. And then I will probably do more than like a normal 9 to 5 jobs, what people will do in 2 days. And then
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want after that. And if I'm like in the evening, hey, I still want to do a bit, I can. But being like 8 hours in one place and having to, I don't work like that. And I think it's nice that I know it and I can say I don't have to. But I just ended my master's degree, and then I was like, hey, maybe like getting into a consultant firm, something like that, and having a job with a fixed income would be really nice. But then also, yeah, but the downside is so much bigger that no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say you're like struggling with the fluctuation, the money comes in? Because I know that we are sometimes like financial planning is sometimes difficult in our position. How do you feel about that?
I think like this was probably the year where I learned the most, because I'm now kind of just everything I get in, I will try to put in a different account and not touch it, especially with taxes and Sozialversicherung, healthcare system. It's like I'm just so scared of not having the money when I really need it. And I know it's everyone's just doing their job. That was also a big learning. If you get a letter where it's like, hey, you have to pay that, it's just one part in a system that will happen. So no one's mean, no one's mad, no one's anything. It's just their job. And mostly you can just call and be like, I'm sorry, I don't have it right now. Oh, no worries. Just paid what you can. Like, here's how about this month, this the next month. So I think it's a lot of planning. And I'm currently planning a lot of financial stuff, which is also fun when you're freelance. You have to do so much organizational stuff where you're like, okay, but how do taxes work? How do I do this? How do I put that in? But it's so much stuff to think about. But I don't think you will ever really figure it out. But when you figure it out in a way that works for you, it falls together. And you're like, okay, I know I have to do this, and this, and you're safe. But yes, I hate it. I have a month where I get 10K and then 2 months where I do not get anything. It's like, I have no idea.
It's like one day you're rich, the other day you're poor.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
It's very yeah, it fluctuates a lot. And I think that yeah, you can plan to a certain extent, but a lot of it is a bit random.
Speaking of planning, you mentioned that depending on who you're introducing yourself to, you use like different terminology, not just terminology, but also different disciplines. So in this case, if you would describe yourself to yourself, what would you describe yourself as? Where do you gravitate towards? Is it more towards the jewelry making or artist? Is it more towards design?
I would say design, because it does take up the most of my time. And I think you put the discipline of design into everything. So when I do jewelry and I have to do posts, I have to put stuff on Instagram, do my website, everything is design kind of. and thinking of the things I have on my hands when I have a ring. What is a design that works for people that I think is nice? That is, so I think it's designer, and then the rest follows, kind of.
Okay. So when you think of the future,
Hmm.
do you see yourself more as a jewelry designer, or like do you see yourself more in evolving into that discipline, or more like staying in the realm of I can do everything? Hope that makes sense as a question.
I think everything. So the goal is kind of to. I'm currently learning sewing. My sister's a seamstress, so I'm learning how to sew, and I love to do my own clothes. Like the shirt I'm wearing is I did that myself, and I love it. So I want to understand everything so I can build everything. I'm currently founding a design strategy company with a friend of mine. So this is like, okay, we can put our knowledge in, and if we want to, we can do a PhD on that. We don't know yet, but it's like I just want to make stuff that is functional, looks good, and people actually need it. So that would be the end goal.
Okay. So more like also execution slash product oriented from what I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
yeah.
Is this
I
also
love
something?
furniture.
So carpentry is next.
It's
I can.
amazing.
I build a few things, but I think I just love when I'm somewhere and I'm like, okay, I see this bed frame. I can do it with this, and then I need this. Okay, who can help me? So delegating and also getting the right people into a project. And you kind of learn this, especially on the craftsmanship, because I'm not able to know everything. How should I? I just know the right people. And I know this I will probably need, and then I get the right people to build it.
Very interesting. I personally am not like that, so it's interesting to meet somebody who enjoys doing that. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I had a really hard time letting go once we started having employees, like letting go the control of it all and letting go. Like at some point, I got so detached from projects that I didn't even know what's going on anymore. And I really hated that. I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I mean, it was
yeah,
also on me to some extent, I would say. But at the same time, it was either I'm super attached to it or I'm super detached. I couldn't find the right balance yet. So
yeah.
I
that's
think
definitely.
it's kind of important to say this sounds like so natural and it sounds like I'm so good at it. No, it took a lot of time. I'm still practicing. So I'm still sometimes, can I delegate that or should I do it on my own because I really know how I want it to be done. I think this is something that will evolve probably forever. And depending on who you're working with, what the project is like, how the people of the project are like. Because some are okay if you can just say, hey, talk to that person. Some will want to talk only to you, things like this. So it sounds so natural, but it's a lot of work. And I think I
No,
get that.
definitely.
I don't really like to not be in the loop. So I'm okay to give you the work, but I want to be in the loop and I want to look over it again and I want to be like, okay, fine, let's go. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's something extremely important.
So you noticed that, I guess you've been working alone for a while. You noticed that you needed someone to help you, and you started working with someone else. So what was it like going from having complete control to then being like, okay, hey, can you deal with that? And then also being able to trust somebody to do that. What was that like?
weird, super
Yeah.
weird. Um, we're still in the founding process and we're still like having a lot of talks, how we want things to be done, how we communicate with each other, how we're both people that tend to overwork themselves and then to burn out. So we're very good at that both. And it's like holding each other accountable, which is really nice. So I think that's my favorite thing about it being like, hey, I know the client right now, that's not nice. Whatever happened right now is not nice. Calm down, breathe. You cannot do anything today. Let's do it tomorrow together. So it's like, it's weird. And I sometimes like it more to work alone, but I still can, like I work from home. But if I need him, I can just call. and
Yeah.
someone's in the loop, which is my favorite thing. He knows the clients, he knows the projects, and it's different if I talk to my friends or my boyfriend or anyone. They don't know them, they don't know the project, the business. But if you have someone to talk about it, it helps emotionally.
Yeah, definitely. That's been our experience too. We've met a lot of like solopreneurs that do it alone, and even some of them have like seeked help in other ways, like having a mentor or a consultant, and it just makes it so much easier to deal with, especially the like uncomfortable parts of running a business.
Yeah, I wanna just go back a little bit to your
Hmm.
all of your disciplines because I was curious, since you're doing a lot, do you have like a break, like just an approximate breakdown of your income streams? Like, could you percentually say where the most income comes in currently from all the
Hmm.
disciplines that you are doing?
By far, graphic design. I would say 90%. Design strategy, but like the design part is like probably 90%. Then the jewelry, it depends a lot. Like I have a store in Vienna, it's called Die Sellerie in the Burggasse, and they have my jewelry, and now it's like, can I talk in numbers? Is that okay for you?
If you want to, yeah, of course.
Okay, it's approximately like 1,000 euro a month, sometimes more just from the jewelry. But I have to, it's not the win.
It's not the profit.
It's not the profit.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just what I get, and then I have to all my work hours. The silver is getting crazy right now. It's like it's went up 70% in the price
Oh my
Oh,
God.
really?
since
Wow.
January.
Okay.
So this is different, but the rest I would say graphic design is most of it
Is this
because
something you would like
bigger
to change in
project.
the future? Sorry for interrupting you.
No, no, no worries. If I want to change it in the future, I think it's nice if I can work beforehand and then I put it somewhere and I get the money at the end of the month. So it's like kind of the feeling of I have a fixed income, which is very nice. But yeah, I think I would love if that gets a bit bigger. Of course, who doesn't like having more money, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I can't argue with that.
Yeah, I mean, we're always thinking of ways to like create a product that sells like somewhat passively. Like, obviously, you have to prepare it and you have to put it somewhere and marketing and all that. But yeah, product selling is obviously a lot different to selling something where you have to invest time, you have to invest a lot of like emotional labor, I feel like, because the client communication with a client, feedback and all that. Yeah, it is in for me, I mean, in my experience, I feel like it's a lot more taxing on your person to do like service work
Mm.
than to do products.
But I think that's normal. I also feel it with jewelry when I do my own work and someone buys it. It's amazing. It doesn't cost me a lot because it's the stuff I want to do. But I also do a lot of work for clients. So they have ideas and I will do some sketches and then do it for them. And mostly it's stuff I have never done. So it's always like, I have no idea. This will extend so many hours. Um, and this also costs a lot, to be honest. So having a fixed product that you can do on your own and it works and you can put it out there, I think that's a very nice thing.
Also on that note, not exactly on this note, but on the note of selling your own product, what is your experience between selling B2B and selling B2C? Because it's quite like a different target group. I feel like it's so different to generate leads or generate sales, business to business or business to customer. Curious about your experience there.
I have to say that, first of all, I think I get 98% of my clients from talking, like from people who say, hey, do you know her? Do you know Lara? Um, so that helps a bit. And I would also say that 99% of my customers, B2B and B2C, are very nice people. So I wouldn't take you as a client, especially not B2B, if I don't think I can work with you long term. If you just buy a ring, I think I can be nice to everyone. That's not the problem. But if I have to, if I can work with you for a few months or years, I would want to have a really nice relationship. But I think that's a lot of work too. I just had a moment, I would say, with a client of mine, which is also a friend of mine. And I wanted to set a boundary, and I did it in a very wrong tone of voice. Because you still have, it's like friendship, but it's also working together. And my tone of voice was a bit too harsh. And I had to learn, okay, I don't know, I'm learning so much on the way every day. I think it's like, okay, well, next time I will do it like this and this. But it's feeling a lot, I think. It's understanding the person in front of you. It's knowing how to talk to them. I have very different clients. Like I have some clients that are super, super, super friendly, and I will be super, super friendly to them back because I think they also may think that my tone then will be not so nice. And then I have some clients who are just like on the point always. They say something and it's like this, this, this. But I also really like it because I'm like, okay, I know what to do. Thank you very much.
Actually, sometimes prefer that.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to just like skip over all the like small talk and just get right to it. Yeah, I think B2C, I can imagine you're not always in contact with the people who are buying your product. Whereas B2B, you are constantly in contact with the people, and that's the big difference.
Also, I think the marketing. I mean, a lot of B2B is word of mouth. We have that too, but I think that if you are like generating leads actively, the communication is so different from B2C versus B2B. Like B2B always feels like salesy. I need to sell you something, but B2C you can be like vibes. You can have like more different ways of selling a product, I feel, than B2B.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
That's the way I see it. But of course, I don't have the experience in B2C yet. But this is how I'm seeing it. Shifting gears a little bit um, towards the topic of pricing. I
Mhm.
feel like pricing a project versus pricing a product can be quite different. Do
Mhm.
you have like a similar approach, pricing your jewelry versus pricing your project? So where do you see the differences there?
Ooh, okay. I think value-based pricing is more in the jewelry and the hours is more in the design work, even though I want to get away from it. But it's sometimes I tried, and then it's sometimes just easier with the hours because then they understand it. And I have a lot of work that is clients I have for a long time. So I'm doing the same thing for them, I don't know, 50th time. Um, and then I will just take it from the hour. So I have like currently my hour rate is 90 euro, and it depends on that. So if I know I can always put in, I think I will take probably approximately this amount of time. So it should cost this. And with the jewelry, it's so hard because I have rings that, for example, this one, the first few times I did this one, it took so long. And I cannot, like, it took a day, if not longer. And then you have all the material, the silver, everything else. It ruined a lot of the things I used to work on it. So it ruined my tools because how sharp it is. Um, and I cannot like put 600 euro on a ring like this because it took me so much time. So I have to be on the value. What is something people would pay for this? But also it's handmade in Vienna. It's recycled silver. It's they always are in contact with me. So if they need a different sizing, if they want to have it polished again, they can always just write me and I will do it.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach. I would have like thought.
I would have thought it's the other way around.
Me too,
Yeah.
me too. But it makes sense now that you walked us through your process. It makes sense because I feel like creating, I would call it like a prototype. Like when you start out doing that shapes, it's like takes a bit longer, of course, because you need to get to know the process, how the material reacts, and just everything. Like, and at some point, correct me if I'm wrong, you could probably like go into like a more like into a quicker production process with it, or no? Yes,
Yes, you
right?
can. I
Okay.
am. For example, with these, I started doing everyone individual in wax and then cast it myself in sand. So it will just take so much more time. And for a few sizes, I have a silicone form now. And then you can just put in wax and it gets so much faster. So it doesn't take that long to do it anymore. But I think then sometimes it's hard just because right now I just need like 5 hours to finish the ring, and it used to be, I don't know, 10 or 15. It shouldn't be cheaper, if you know what I mean, because it's still the same value.
Yeah.
Totally
It's
agree.
still the same ring with the same metal. So that's where I'm like, hard because I just got faster. But that's also why I like value-based pricing. Just because I'm fast at something does not diminish the value of it.
That's such a good message. It's something
Yeah.
we're preaching constantly as well. And I feel like that's something that exactly translates into design work as well. Because, for example, Rebecca is extremely fast in design, so she kind of gets punished with hourly based pricing. I'm slower, so I would earn more money, but is that fair? I wouldn't say it is.
Yeah, I think the ring example is a really good example that we should use in the future when we try to describe or like explain value-based pricing, because I think people can understand it better when they think of a product, like a physical product. We always use like the example of like iPhones, they're not actually that expensive to produce, but people buy them anyway. It's the value that you're buying and not the hours or the materials. But as soon as it goes over into a service, that's when people have difficulty not only understanding it but also implementing it.
Mm.
We've heard from several creatives who tried it that went back to doing hourly based because it was just easier. Like you said, also for the client to understand what the price means. And we use it too for certain tasks, like you were saying, like there are certain tasks you do for the 50th time, and it's the same thing. So obviously you're not going to put a value-based price on that. We do the same, like we have certain types of tasks where we would just use the hourly rate because it doesn't really have like a huge value. But do you ever try to do a value-based price when, for example, when you're selling something bigger? For example, like someone comes to you and they want you to do like an entire strategy for their company, including like branding and that. Is that where you then try to go more towards a value-based approach?
I'm starting right now.
Okay.
The last 5 or 6 proposals I wrote are value based on Design Austria. They have like a whole book where they write how much someone in this branch would want for this. And then you also have to put in about a bit of inflation. So I think it's like 7 or 10% you can put on top of that because the book is a bit older. So I'm doing it like this, and then every hour that gets over that. So they have like 2 rounds of please change that. And after that, it's just hourly based.
Yeah.
So I
It's
think
like a
that
hybrid.
makes the most sense because you still have the value and the rest is just the time that exceeds what was inside of the proposal.
Okay. Some some people that some creatives that we know really struggle with the concept of value. How do you determine value for a project for yourself? Like, do you take, like you mentioned, the examples from the book? Or are you also trying to talk to the client about what this project would mean to them financially? Or how do you approach this subject of value?
I think if it comes to that someone would be like, okay, why does it cost how much it costs? I would try to explain um, a brand and what they see of you is everything they kind of see of you. Of course, it's the touch points of talking to you and hearing your voice and seeing the person. But at the end of the day, especially the people you get to know new, like new people that will probably maybe be your clients, um, see your website, see your Instagram, see your logo somewhere, see your business card somewhere, and it has to make an impact. And I mean, it doesn't have to, But the difference is you will generate more leads. You will have a different, I think also the feeling the company has is very, very different when everything fits together like a puzzle. Because they will be like, hey, that's my business card. And I love business cards. I think it's so nice if you have a really nice soft touch or like some kind of texture on it. And it's different than the basic business cards you normally get. And it's just like, cool. And it doesn't have to be more, because maybe they think of it when they think of, hey, I need a design company. And they'll be like, oh, I had a business card. Let me look. It had this color. It felt like this. Because people work not only on what they hear, but also what they feel, what they smell, what they taste, everything. I think all the senses put into that will bring your company value, because people will identify you with these things. Yeah.
Do you feel like I feel like you explained it really well. Do you think that also the ring example, like you understand that the hours put in doesn't automatically equal the value? Do you feel like your working on physical products and thinking about like how to put things together, do you think that helps you understand value also in like the service side of things?
Probably more in terms of what people value. For example, if you take in a ring and that ring is made out of silver, and then you take a ring that is made of gold. Gold costs, I think, a bit over 100 times more than silver does. So when I had clients that were like, oh yeah, I have all the silver rings now from you. I really like them. But I think it's just like for going out. Do you have maybe white gold or anything? Because that's the real value of it. So they understand it. And for other people, it's just having silver is very, very valuable. So it also depends on the people you're with, I guess.
Yeah, that's something we say a lot too. Like, value is very dependent on who you're talking to, because everyone has a subjective opinion on what is valuable and what isn't, and where they want to spend their money and where they don't want to spend their money.
Yeah, that's why I find it
Absolutely.
so interesting to see how you determine the value for someone else, because you can determine it with materials. I think that gives you like really nice,
Like a starting point.
yeah, like a good starting point, because you know that's something people value. But I feel like in service work, it's so difficult to have those points, to be like, yeah, okay, it will increase your conversion rate. Okay, maybe that helps, but if you're not in the web design sphere, it's kind of way more difficult, especially with branding. You can explain what it will do to your brand, but if they lack the imagination, it's a bit difficult to sell.
But I have to say
However,
then, these are not my clients.
perfect.
That,
I just wanted to say the same, and you took the words out of my mouth.
sorry,
No,
sorry.
it's
Because
no, it's perfect. I'm happy you said it, because that's exactly where I was going. Those are not your clients, but I think a lot of people don't really grasp the concept that they don't serve
They
that
don't need to serve every client.
there
Yeah.
you go. Yeah. So, yeah. Wow. Okay. We were jumping around here from jewelry business to design.
welcome in my life.
It's very fitting, yes, to you, actually.
I'm learning a lot here. I just want to one more thing, because we're talking about value, and you
Mhm,
also mentioned that you're painting. And while I was researching for this episode, I also saw that you sell paintings, and I
mhm.
think that's a very interesting like point to discuss value as well. How do you determine the value, or how do you determine the price of an artwork?
I have a formula.
Mm,
Ooh,
And it's
okay.
very
interesting.
nice to have it. It's normally you do it when you're in the range of someone that is experienced, but not like a Van Gogh. Like there, the value is on someone's dead and someone painted a lot in his life and the history. But for someone who's alive and for someone who's experienced, but not in this crazy art sphere, um, it's the length and the width of the painting. You add that and multiply it by, for me, it's 6. It's my artist factor. And it's normally between 1 and 10. everything over that, you can go over it, but normally these are the people that are like so crazy, not per se experienced, more in the art world, very well known and very
Yeah.
well valued.
Hmm.
So for me, it's 6 because of my ages of work, because of my education. I did my bachelor's degree in the art university, and I also had like painting courses. And I also just know this factor from my painting teacher because I asked him, I was like, okay, a lot of people want to buy the work, but I don't know how much, da da da. And he was like, okay, tell me what you do. Tell me how long you're doing it. Tell me the paintings, what you're working with, everything. And then he was like, okay, your factor is a 6. So it happened like that. But it's still, I have to say, especially with the paintings, my clients would be quite young. And to pay 1,400 euro for a painting is it's a lot. I know that it's a lot. I really, really do know that. But also I do not want to sell under its value, especially not with art, because art is my energy. And I rather keep the painting and not get the money, I'm okay with that, than give it to someone under its value.
This is so interesting because we were jumping between design, jewelry, and art. And I feel like for every discipline, you had like a different way to put value on your work. And this is exactly why value-based pricing is so difficult, because it's the value that for your creation, what you create, so the value for yourself versus if you're selling it, the value for the client. And it's so difficult to find the sweet spot between um like your value and the value they're willing to pay for.
Yeah, finding a balance and then finding that middle ground is the thing that's difficult. But it's amazing that I feel like it's like this red thread that goes through all of your work is the value of what you're doing, which is really great to hear because it's something I think most people struggle with in the creative industry. So we always ask our guests kind of if they can give some advice to either their younger self, like before they really started out with the business, or to people doing maybe something similar to what you're doing now or wanting to start something similar. Like, what would you say to that person?
I have a mantra I'm saying myself probably a few times a day. It's just no one will die.
Oh my God, I say this all the time too.
Y- It helps so much,
Yeah.
especially in our work, because people are sometimes very stressful and are very like, okay, but it has to be printing, it has to be, it has to be online. And then I just try to remind myself, no one's gonna die if it's there one day later. No one, not one person. And I think that helps a lot. And everything is figure outable. Everything.
Yes.
If you really
Yeah.
want to do it, figure a way. Figure out a way.
Yeah, I really love that attitude. Like from the start, that when you describe that you're like, I don't know, how do you say, like curious, but in a way where you're like
Once
feasting
is
on it, feasting on
knowledge. Yeah.
knowledge. It's like it's a very great attitude to have. And I think that I would say it's one of the most important attitudes when you're running a freelance business, is to like stay curious. And yeah, because if you don't stay curious, you're like getting left behind at some
Yeah, you
point.
just have to adapt so much, I feel like,
Exactly.
as your business grows, as the market changes, and staying curious and being like um able to adapt to those things. And yeah, figure it out when you need to figure it out is so important.
That, and no
But
one's gonna die.
Yeah.
I'm not saying figure it out on your own. I think that's quite important. I
Yeah.
have a lot of people I talk to a lot about. Like I will say, hey, this client said that to me. What do you think about it? Maybe I have a different tone, maybe I have a different knowledge. And it's connection. And someone knows someone who knows someone, and then you have an amazing project because of it. So just talk.
Great advice. Thank you so much for this really interesting episode. I feel like I learned a lot about Now I feel like I need to also do something with my hands. Even
So
I
you
just
infected
started
me.
tattooing, so if you want.
Oh, she already did.
Yeah, I already had that. I had that side quest already.
Time for another.
Time for a new one, yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode of Never Went to Business School. Don't forget to follow us here on Spotify. And if you enjoy our content, check out our YouTube channel for more educational videos and subscribe to our newsletter on Substack.